Welcome, boys and girls, to another faith story with Pastor M&M. Today's story is about me and my older brother who grew up together. He's 1 year older than me, so we were very close. And as brothers love to do, we wrestled a lot. There was a lot of roughhousing. And sometimes he was the winner, sometimes I was the winner, but we wrestled around and rolled around on the ground in the bed, and we were measuring up our strengths and our weaknesses. And as we were doing that on and off as brothers, one day when my parents received visitors, some adults, they wanted to talk about adult things. So they went into another room and they left us in our room to play. And as they were talking in the adjacent room, my brother and we started to wrestle. And as we wrestled and we pushed each other and shoved each other and roughhoused each other, I pushed him and my brother fell into a sewing machine. Into a sewing machine that my mother had to make pullovers. And that's a long machine with hundreds of needles sticking out, and that's where she worked making pullovers and sweaters. And as my brother fell into those needles, it cut his ear off. It was held by a small piece of flesh on the bottom. And of course, immediately he began to bleed. And out of pain, he was running up and down the stairs in the hallway. We lived in a 3-story house with my aunt and uncle and my grandma and grandpa. And of course, he was shouting in pain as he was holding his bleeding wound there. When all the adults came to see what's happening, what was the commotion, they see my brother bleeding heavily and he's in pain. So without much hesitation, my parents take my brother, put him in the car, and rush to the ER. I was left alone with my little brother. And to me, it seemed like a long time they were away. But I was praying nonstop. Jesus, heal my older brother. And I promised everything to Jesus. I will never wrestle again. I'm going to be a good brother. I'm going to be nice. I'm going to be gentle and kind. Just please heal my brother. Well, when my parents came home, and of course all the adults gathered around to hear the news, my parents were crying as they shared the diagnosis. The doctor said that they sewed the ear back, but they give it 3 days to see if the ear turns red. That means the body accepted this attachment and the blood is circulating healthily, so it's all good, and we're on the road to healing. But in 3 days, if the ear is turning black, that means the body rejected the ear, and they will have to go and put a plastic prosthetic ear. And for 3 days, I remember I was praying. I was probably 11 years old at the time, and I was praying and praying and praying. And I reinforced all the promises to God that I'm going to be the best brother ever. Just heal my older brother. After 3 days, when they come back from the doctor, from checkup, again, I see that my parents are crying. And the bad news was that my brother's ear was turning black. So they had to set up an appointment with the other doctor who would take the measurement of the ear and would begin preparing the plastic ear. I remember withdrawing in my room, in my corner, and I began to wrestle with God on a spiritual level. And I was pleading with God why He's not answering my prayer, why He's not healing my brother. I promised I would never wrestle again. I promised I would be kind and gentle and would not push and shove my brother. And as I wrestled with Him, the time came for my parents to go and have the meeting with this other doctor. And when they come home, I see that both my parents are happy. And they're telling everybody that a turn took place for the better. The year began to turn red, which means that it's healing. The body accepted the attachment, and now the blood is circulating well, and there's no need for a plastic ear. And so I went back in my corner and I praised God for doing this and performing that miracle and healing my brother. But I continued to wrestle with God, saying, why have you not done this when I first began to pray? Why did I have to go through that struggle? And there's one Bible verse that helped me understand. It's the words of Apostle Paul that he writes in his first letter to Timothy, chapter 6 and verse 15. Which He, Jesus, will manifest in His own time, He who is the blessed and only potentate, the King of kings and Lord of lords. What I learned from this Bible verse and from that experience is that God has His own timing. He does not answer prayer when I want to, when we want to. He answers when He sees it best. And so now that I look back on that testimony and all the other experiences that I had with my Lord, I realized that His timing was always the best, was always better than when I considered it a good timing. And so young people, boys and girls, teenagers, I challenge you, when you pray to God for something, hang in there. Don't give up if God does not answer right away. Know in your mind that God has His own timing and He will answer according to what we need, not what we want. I hope this will encourage you to continue to pray and be patient because God will answer. So that's our story today. Keep praying and wait on the Lord because He will take care of us. Until next time, with Pastor M&M, God bless you.